right, hello. Welcome to 1010 News as we present the top 10 news in 10 minutes. This is Esther Park.
And I'm Andy Hong.
And I really hope that our rigorous, academic classes are not depriving you of sleep.
I don't. Are you sure it's the academic classes? I think it's more about Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, yeah, like the distractions.
Yeah.
Alright,
How
anyways,
things work.
yesterday was the 9/11 13th anniversary. On this day, a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks was launched by the terrorist group Al-Qaeda. 2 of the hijacked planes hit the north and south towers of the World Trade Center complex. One of the planes crashed in the Pentagon, partially collapsing the western side. The 4th plane, which was targeted at Washington, D.C., crashed into a field in Pennsylvania after its passengers overtook the hijackers. In total, almost 3,000 people died in the attack and was marked as the deadliest incident for firefighters and officers in the history of the United States. 343 firefighters and 72 officers were killed while helping civilians escape the buildings. As a result of that tragedy, I would like us all to observe a moment of silence as a mark of our respect. And thank you. And today, our World Trade Center is built again with a 9/11 Memorial Museum to constantly remind us that history should not repeat itself.
And on Wednesday, President Obama finally made a speech outlining his new plan on continuing the war on terror, only that this time he never used the word war. In his counterterrorism operation, the United States would carry out expanded and open airstrikes against ISIS in both Iraq and Syria, which, as Obama himself frankly admitted, would be challenging and dangerous. However, with latest figures of ISIS fighters released by the CIA indicating about 20 to 30,000 men and women serving under the radical Islamic organization, it was necessary that a leader take a strong stance on the issue. The United States will not be alone throughout the operation. There will be a coalition of American allies in the Middle East, such as Turkey, also helping out. However, some are unsure if it is safe to trust these allies, as Turkey, per se, has been known to harbor countless Islamic extremists.
And also yesterday, NATO reported that there were still more than 1,000 troops from Russia inside eastern Ukraine, even though a week ago, Ukraine's government and pro-Russian rebels agreed to a ceasefire aimed at ending conflicts. However, this doesn't seem the case, as NATO reported that there is still sophisticated military equipment present within the country. A new round of European Union sanctions against Russia over its action in Ukraine will come into force on Friday. EU officials will review the implementation of the ceasefire before the end of the month, after which the sanctions can be amended or lifted. The sanctions include tougher restriction on Russia's access to EU capital markets, a ban on loans by EU companies or individuals to 5 major Russian state-owned banks, a ban on debt financing to 3 major Russian defense companies and 3 major energy companies, and an asset freeze and travel ban against 24 more individuals. This means 190 people in total are now subject to sanctions, while 23 entities remain under an asset freeze in the European Union. Russia has warned that it will respond to any additional measures.
Let's hopefully not spread to war, but meanwhile, in the United States, turmoil in the NFL as the controversy over the slow response of the league to domestic violence by football player Ray Rice escalates. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has been under intense fire from the public for failing to respond swiftly and decisively to a blatant act of violence by Ray Rice to his then fiancée some few weeks ago. League representatives refused to admit that they had seen the security footage before, and Rice's wife also urges fans and investigators alike to forgive. On Wednesday night, Goodell asked former FBI Director Robert S. Mueller III to investigate the case of Ray Rice. Hopefully we can make sure justice is served to both Rice for the violence and the NFL for the ignorance.
And children with severe respiratory illnesses are flooding the emergency rooms in Alabama. Doctors stated that there is an increase of severe colds and coughing in September. Since then, more than 340 children were hospitalized, and around 45 of them are admitted. The enteroviruses are quite common in September. The Centers of the Disease Control and Prevention estimates around 10 to 15 million people are affected by these viruses. However, enterovirus D86 has been causing more problems than ever. It seems to exaggerate the breathing problems in children with asthma. The virus is hard to track, but the states such as Ohio, Georgia, Michigan, and Utah are still investigating patients and testing different viruses. Hopefully, we won't have another Ebola attack, which is affecting us right now.
And after more than a year of trials and mental breakdowns, Oscar Pistorius, the Olympic athlete accused of shooting his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp on Valentine's Day last year, was found guilty of culpable killing, which is a South African equivalent of negligent killing or manslaughter. Judge Masipa did clear Pistorius of the intentional murder of Steenkamp, but it is likely that Pistorius will still spend quite a few years in prison, as the court also examined separate weapons-related charges. It's a real shame. He overcame his disability of having no legs and became an Olympic track runner with a set of blades, hence the name Blade Runner. I used to admire him a lot for that, especially in the 2012 London Olympics.
Oh, yeah. And also, about just 2 days ago, the Apple announced their new product called the Watch. There are 3 editions that are available: the Standard, Watch Sport, and the Watch Edition. In addition, this trio can be paired with 6 different straps, which come in a combination of leather, stainless steel, and a variety of color combination. Also, the watch incorporates many apps so that the people who has this watch will never stay unconnected from the media world. Using the watch, people can see the weather, pay using their online credit card, use the map for directions, and many more features. And another aspect of the watch is the digital crown, which allows users to scroll and zoom without obstructing the view. It can also keep track of users' heart rate and the calories burned. Many critics remark the watch as Tim Cook's great moment. Along with the new watch, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus were also revealed. Even though there were many improvements from the iPhone 5, one of the key features was the impressive extension of battery life.
Well, no thank you. I'll stick with my 2G phone.
Yeah.
And on September 18th, there will be a vote in Scotland on whether or not the nation will secede from the United Kingdom. The move has gathered quite some support in the past week or so. Many are still worried that the implications of a politically and fiscally independent Scotland. Prime Minister David Cameron in a statement said that he will be heartbroken if the United Kingdom loses Scotland, which has 32% of the surface area, 8% of the population, and apparently 90% of the golf courses in UK.
And this day in history, in France, a collection of prehistoric cave paintings are discovered by 4 teenagers who stumble upon the ancient artwork after following their dog down a narrow entrance into a cavern. The 15,000 to 70,000-year-old paintings, consisting mostly of animal representations, are among the finest examples of art from the Upper Paleolithic period. The caves consist of a main cavern 66 feet wide and 16 feet high. The walls of the cavern are decorated with some 600 painted and drawn animals and symbols and nearly 1,500 engravings. The pictures depict in excellent detail numerous types of animals. There is only one human figure depicted in the cave, a bird-headed man. The last cow grotto was opened to the public in 1948 but was closed in 1963 because artificial lights damaged the paintings. A replica of the cave was opened nearly in 1983 and received tens of thousands of visitors annually.
And finally, for this week's science news, in the past few days, the sun has released 2 enormous CMEs, or coronal mass ejections. The latter is an X 1.6 class, which, according to NASA, puts the ejection in the most intense category. Solar storms, as these CMEs are colloquially known, are known for disrupting satellite communications and some electric circuitry on the surface of the Earth. In the Quebec blackout of 1989, satellites were sent tumbling out of control, and the entire province of Quebec had a 12-hour-long blackout. Due to the possible severe consequences of such a massive ejection, FEMA has already been contacted, although I see no difference in contacting them a few days earlier or 10 years later. However, it's not all bad. For example, if you live in the rural northern US, you might be able to see auroras, aka the northern lights. Too bad we don't even get that kind of silver lining. We might get all of our electronics fried without even getting to see the light show. So this might be our last broadcast too.
Hopefully not.
That was 1010 News for tonight. I'm Andy Hong.
And this is Esther Parks. Thanks for watching, and like us through Facebook and Twitter. Just type 1010 News. See y'all next week.